The death of Rebecca Zahau. Rebecca Zahau was born on March 15, 1979. She died July 13, 2011. She was discovered dead at the Spreckels mansion in Coronado, California, where she lived with her millionaire boyfriend, Medix Pharmaceutical CEO Jonah Shacknai. Rebecca's death occurred 2 days after Jonah Shacknai's 6-year-old son Max took a fatal fall from a staircase banister in the same beachfront property mansion. Zahau was the only adult present at the time of the child's fall. In 2008, Rebecca Zahau began dating Jonah Shacknai, the CEO of Medix Pharmaceutical, while she was still married to a guy named Napola. Shacknai's position at Medix made him the ninth highest paying CEO in Arizona, earning $6.4 million in 2010. He had two previous marriages. His first marriage to Kimberly James resulted in a divorce and a 3-year custody fight over the couple's two children. He had another son named Max Shacknai, born June 7, 2005, with second wife Dina Ramono. However, Shacknai and Ramono's marriage was marked by ongoing claims of domestic violence from both parties and ended in divorce in Maricopa County, Arizona. On July 11, 2011, Rebecca, Max, and Rebecca's teenage sister, Xena, were at the Spreckle Mansions in Coronado, California, which Shacknai used as a summer estate. At some point during the day, Max fell face first over the second floor banister, suffering injuries to his spinal cord and facial bones, the former of which affected his heart rate and breathing. Rebecca said she was in the bathroom at the time. She found Max moments later, and Xena called 911. Max was not breathing and unresponsive, and he was taken to Rady Children's Hospital. He died on July 16th due to brain damage caused by oxygen deprivation resulting from his injuries. On July 26, investigators ruled the boy's death as an accident, speculating that he somehow tripped. However, a trauma doctor who examined Max prior to his death and autopsy stated to police that he did not believe the injuries from his fall were consistent with the cardiac arrest and the brain swelling experienced by him, suggesting that Max may have been suffocated prior to his fall. On July 12, 2011, Rebecca dropped off Xena at the airport for her flight back to Missouri, and then she picked up Jonah's brother Adam, who had just arrived on a flight from Memphis, Tennessee. Rebecca, Jonah, and Adam ate dinner with a friend named Howard that evening. Rebecca and Adam returned to the Spreckels mansion, while Jonah supposedly kept a vigil at Max's bedside with his mother, Dina. He would leave the hospital to recuperate at a nearby Ronald McDonald house. There were reports of loud music coming from the Spreckels mansion later that night. On the morning of July 13th at roughly 6:45 a.m., Adam stated that he found Rebecca's nude body hanging from a balcony with her wrists and ankles bound and her hands behind her back. Zahau was gagged with a blue long-sleeved t-shirt wrapped around her head, with the sleeves double knotted and stuffed into her mouth. There was also what appeared to be tape residue on her legs. Adam called 911 at 6:48 a.m. Then he sent a text message to his brother Jonah to inform him of the news. He cut down Rebecca's body before the police arrived. Medics attempted to revive her but pronounced her dead at the scene. Police initiated forensic and toxicology testing of her body as part of an autopsy to determine the cause of death. Speculation of foul play began early on in the case. However, investigators were unable to find any other DNA at the scene besides Rebecca's. On September 2nd, the San Diego Sheriff's Department formally announced their findings that Rebecca Zahau committed suicide. Rebecca Zahau's autopsy results revealed 4 instances of head trauma, about which investigators and outside commentators expressed various theories. San Diego medical examiner Jonathan Lucas stated that because there was evidence that she went over the balcony in a non-vertical position, she may have struck her head on the balcony on the way down. Werner Spitz, an expert witness who testified during the trial of Casey Anthony, said it was a possibility, stating that when the body first dropped, she doesn't necessarily jump to her death, so she would drop directly downward and she could easily hit her head against the side of the structure from which she is hanging. However, he noted that to draw stronger conclusions, he would have preferred to see what the body looked like before the wrist bindings were removed. Forensic consultant Dr. Maurice Godwin expressed doubt, stating the chances of bumping into the railing, going over a balcony, and hitting your head 4 times is highly unlikely. A second autopsy on Zahau was conducted by famed pathologist Dr. Cyril Wetch at her family's request. Wetch testified that he believed fractures in Zahau's throat were caused by manual strangulation, not by suicidal hanging. He further stated that he thought Zahau's death was a homicide. In addition, other inaccuracies were found with the Sheriff's Department's investigation, including evidence that indicated that Rebecca Zahau was sexually assaulted before her death. Family members expressed suspicions for why Rebecca's hands and feet were bound. San Diego Sheriff Roy Frank stated there are documentations of incidents throughout the country where people have secured their feet and hands as well as to commit suicide to prevent themselves from changing their mind. Police reenacted the scenario in an effort to determine whether it would have been possible for Zahau to bind herself in that fashion, and showed a video demonstration in which a woman wrapped a rope around her hands several times in front of her, slipped one hand out of the binding, then placed her hands behind her back and rebound them, and tightened the bindings with the aid of a string similar to the one which police found in Zahau's hand. A message had been painted on the door of the room leading to the balcony below where police found Rebecca's body. According to Zahau's ex-husband, it read, "She saved him. Can he save her?" Officials declined to confirm this. In media comments, Sheriff Gore only stated that it was not a clear suicide note. However, investigators took it as further evidence of suicide. Zahau liked to paint as a hobby and had signed her paintings in the past. Her siblings contended that the message did not match her handwriting. Her ex-husband also stated the note did not appear to be something Zahau would have written. Police served Verizon and AT&T with search warrants to obtain cell phone billing records and took Rebecca's Samsung Focus cell phone as evidence. According to AT&T records, from roughly 8 p.m. until 10 p.m., Rebecca talked and texted with her older sister, Mary, who confirmed that Xena had arrived home safely. At 10:48 p.m., Zahau received a text message from Nina Ramona, the twin sister of Shacknai's ex-wife, who wanted to stop by the house and talk about Max's accident. Zahau did not reply to that message. Police said Zahau checked her voicemail a few hours later at 12:50 a.m. and listened to a message. Billing records did not show who left that message. Police stated it was a message regarding the worsening of Max's condition, but declined to confirm at the time who had left the message. Mary stated that police told her it was Jonah Shacknai. The message was deleted, meaning that police and Zahau's family never heard the contents of the message. Investigators initially did not attempt to power up or operate the cell phone, fearing that they might overwrite evidence contained in its memory. Instead, they tried to determine whether forensic software was available, which would allow them to examine that model of phone. On August 15th, unable to identify any such technology, a detective turned on the phone and conducted a manual search of it, finding that the voicemail message was not stored on the phone. They did not request AT&T try to retrieve the deleted message from its servers. Later on September 21st, an investigator announced that they would be using new technology to copy the phone's data for further investigation. In early October, investigators completed their second examination of the phone, stating that they did not uncover any additional information and would soon return it to Rebecca's family. Members of Rebecca Zahau's family disputed the findings that her death was suicide and filed a $10 million wrongful death suit against Jonah Shacknai's brother, Adam. The jury in the civil trial found Adam Shacknai responsible for Rebecca's death and granted her family a $5 million judgment for the loss of love and companionship, as well as an additional $167,000 for the loss of financial support Rebecca would have provided her mother and siblings. Rebecca Zahau's death still remains a mystery, as well as Max Shacknai's death. There are some people that speculate that Rebecca had something to do with Max's death, that he didn't accidentally fall. The doctor that treated Max suspected that he had been suffocated because his injuries weren't consistent with taking a fall like that. Could Adam Shacknai have thought that Rebecca murdered Max, and could he have murdered her for revenge? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. Thanks, guys. Peace.